Morning, everyone. We are the Group 10, and our topic is stress in the workplace.
Objectives. At the end of this report, learners will be able to first, explain what work-related stress means. Second, identify the causes of work-related stress. Third, understand the impact of work-related stress to the organization and employees. And lastly, learn the stress management interventions and approaches. The work-related stress. Hans Selye. His full name is Hans Hugo Bruno Selye. He was born on January 26, 1907 and died on October 16, 1982. He was an endocrinologist. He was one of the founding fathers of stress research. First introduced the idea of stress in 1936. He defined stress as in biological terms as a non-specific response of the body to any demands of change. His study led to the study of stress in brain functions. He also defines stressors. Stressors is an event that triggers a physiological and psychological response from organism. In this context, a stressor can be a biological agent, an environmental condition, an external stimulus, or an event. Stress can define a negative condition or a positive condition that responds to a stressor and that can have impacts to person's physical and mental well-being. International Labour Organization or ILO 2016 defines stress as a harmful physical and emotional response caused by imbalance between the perceived demands and perceived resources and the abilities of individuals to cope with those demands. Work-related stress is determined by work organization, work design, and labor relations. Another definition by Leka S. et al. 2003, work-related stress is the response people may have when presented with work demand and pressures that are not matched to their knowledge and abilities and which challenge their ability to cope. Stress results from a mismatch between the demands and pressures on the person on the one hand and their knowledge and abilities on the other. It challenges their ability to cope with work. This includes not only situations where the pressures of work exceeds the ability to cope, but also where the worker's knowledge and abilities are not sufficiently utilized and that is a problem for them.
What causes work stress? Most of the causes of work stress concern the way work is designed and the way in which organizations are managed. Because the aspects of work have the potential for causing harm, they are called stress-related hazard. Psychosocial hazard is any hazard that affects the well-being and mental health of the worker by overwhelming individual coping mechanism and impacting the worker's ability to work in the workplace. So, psychosocial hazard is a type of workplace hazard that can affect the well-being and mental health of an individual. Cox identifies 10 types of stressful work characteristics and divided into two groups. Content of work refers to the psychosocial hazard related to the working condition and work organization. Content of work are those that affect the working condition and of employees. First characteristic of work stress are work environment and work equipment. Problems regarding the reliability, availability, suitability, and maintenance or repair of both equipment and facilities. The various problems that arise when dealing with both equipment and facilities, for example, extreme temperature, poor air quality, excessive noise, and radiation in the workplace can all harm workers. And also, working near machinery that risk of injuries. So those that affect the working condition of employees. Next characteristic are task design. lack of variety or short work cycle, fragmented or meaningless work, underuse of skills, high uncertainty. So how much influence does over your work? What the possibilities for affecting this working condition of employees? Do they see themselves having the meaning of work? Does workers feel their work has meaning to the organization? Next characteristic are workload or work pace. Work overload or underload, lack of control over pacing, high levels of time pressure. Work overload or under can cause sudden increases in pressure. For example, nothing nothing enough time to do work. It can be working pace or working fast that can cause pressure. A lot of work deal with people and the resources and restriction you have in dealing with people that can affect the working condition of employees. Next characteristic are work schedule. Shift working, unflexible work schedules, unpredictable hours, long and social hours. This refers to unpredictable work schedules, like shift works, rotating schedule that can include evening, afternoon, early morning works, which cause sleep problems, and those affect working conditions of employees. Contents of work concerning to psychosocial hazard in organization of work and labor relations. So this refers in the organization of work. Organizational culture and functions. Poor communication, low levels of support for problem solving and personal development, lack of definition of organizational objectives. Poor communication. How much influence does over your work? What the possibilities for development? Do they see themselves having the meaning of work? Does worker feel their work has meaning to the organization? Do you feel that the commitment you give to work is valued? Next characteristic is rule and organization. Rule ambiguity and rule conflict, responsibility for people. Career development and status pay. Career stagnation and uncertainty, under promotion, over promotion, poor pay, job insecurity, low social value and work. So this context of work is important to help employees develop their capabilities and improve their work. Next, characteristics are decision latitude or control. Low participation in decision making. Lack of control work, particularly in participation, is also contextual and wider organizational sizes. This freedom concerns on employee's ability to control his or her work. Next characteristic are interpersonal relationship at work. Social or physical isolation, poor relationships with superiors, interpersonal conflict, lack of social support. So relationship is another one. What's the relationship? Do you know what happened tomorrow in your workplace? Do you feel recognized for the work you do? And what kind of leadership your organization, your supervisor or mentor is a good support or not? Lastly, home-work interface. Conflicting demands of work and home, low support at home, dual career problems. What kind of procedure does employees have to make easier to run a family at the same time in the workplace? So this is all under the umbrella of psychosocial hazard that can cause work stress. To better understand the cause of psychosocial hazard, let's watch this.
Impacts of work-related stress to the individuals and organization. For individual, when affected by work stress, people may become increasingly distressed or irritable. These conditions may influence his or her ability to maintain interpersonal relationships outside and inside the organization. Then, became unable to relax or concentrate. The employee feels upset and worried. The employee will not able to do well his or her assigned task. Lot of errors happen that may result to delay accomplishment of tasks. Next is have difficulty in thinking logically and making decisions. Motor activity, cognitive and decision-making processes slow down and memory is weakened. Next, enjoy their work less and feel less committed. The job satisfaction of the employee will be lacking and motivation decreases. Feel tired, depressed, and anxious. The employees don't have enough energy to complete the task. Also, employee will experience serious physical problems such as heart disease, disorders in digestive system, increased blood pressure, headaches, musculoskeletal disorders such as low back pain and upper limb disorder. Stress in the workplace may lead to employee burnout. Burnout is a state of physical and emotional exhaustion that results from long involvement in work situations that are emotionally demanding. It is characterized by emotional exhaustion, cynicism, or negative, dehumanized, and insensitive attitudes towards people who are the recipients of the service. Dispersonalization, lack of involvement at work, low level of personal accomplishment, and inefficiency. Nekornek et al. 2015, the influence of long-term mental load during work process deteriorates the work performance of the employee. The experience of work stress can cause unusual and dysfunctional behavior at work and contribute to poor physical and mental health. In extreme cases, long-term stress or traumatic events at work may lead to psychological problems and the conductive to psychiatric disorders, resulting in absence from work and preventing the worker from being able to work again. When under stress, people find it difficult to maintain a healthy balance between work and non-work life. At the same time, they may engage in unhealthy activities such as smoking, drinking, and abusing drugs. Impact of stress to the organization. First, increasing absenteeism. Employees tend to absent regularly. When the employee miss work often, their performance is bound to suffer, as they would have lost time on projects, training, and updates, all of which can lead to low morale in the work environment. Second is decreasing commitment to work. Loyalty of the employee to the organization gets lower. Non-committed employees can work against the organization and hold back the organization's success. Third is increasing staff turnover and intentions to quit. Employee turnover refers to the number or percentage of workers who leave an organization and are replaced by new employees. When regular turnover occurs, a business must continually train replacement staff, incurring additional expenses in bringing employees up to speed, as well as having to pay for the mistakes they make due to inexperience. Then, increasing unsafe working practices and accidents. For example, the boss commanded the driver of delivery truck that before the day end, the products must be delivered to 250 customers. During that day, it was raining and the road is slippery. Since he needed to finish the assigned task, he drive fast as he could and then he got accident. Increasing complaints from clients and customers. When the stressed employee didn't do the right thing or commit mistake, the customer complained and asked for compensation for the damage. If the damage is big, then it requires a large amount of money for payments. Next is adversely affecting staff recruitment. Even recruiters experience stress in choosing the right staff suitable for the job position. Increasing complaints from clients and customers. When the stressed employee didn't do the right thing or commit mistake, the customer complained and asked for compensation for the damage. If the damage is big, then it requires a large amount of money for payments. Next is adversely affecting staff recruitment. Even recruiters experience stress in choosing the right staff suitable for the job position. Increasing liability to legal claims actions by stressed workers. In some circumstances, the company may be legally responsible for harm caused by its employees. Lastly, damaging the organization's image both among its workers and externally. Image and reputation of the company will get ruined. There is a chance that the loyalty of customers also at risk. According to Scott Bamford of Midtrotech Holdings Incorporated 2019, a poor reputation also correlates with increase in cost for hiring and retention, which degrades operating margins and prevents higher returns. If key staff or large number of workers are affected, work stress may challenge the overall healthiness and performance of their organization. Unhealthy organizations do not get the best from their workers, and this may affect not only their performance in the increasingly competitive market, but eventually even the organization's survival.
Stress interventions and management. Stress management interventions refer to a class of activities that are used by organizations to improve employee well-being and reduce stress, principally by either addressing the causes of stress or by reducing the impact of stress on an individual. So, the aim of stress management interventions is to establish what we know about the effectiveness of different interventions in improving psychological well-being. The stress management literature typically classifies interventions according to the focus of stress management and according to the level at which the intervention takes place. With regard to the focus of stress management, interventions are categorized as primary, secondary, and tertiary. Primary interventions is to prevent stress from occurring by removing the sources of stress and enhancing the causes of well-being. Secondary interventions aim to reduce the severity or duration of stress once it has occurred and to prevent the level of stress becoming problematic. Tertiary interventions seek to rehabilitate and maximize functioning for those who are already experiencing or suffering from psychological ill health. So this is a table of typology of stress management interventions. As you can see, there are 3 columns on the table. The first column is intervention type, second is individual, and third is organizational. For now is what is the purpose of individual column. Individual level interventions focus on helping employees to develop skills to manage, cope with, and reduce stress, whereas organizational level interventions make more systematic changes to organizational practices that either target all employees or a specific group of workers. Intervention type: primary, selection and assessment, pre-employment medical examination. Organizational, job redesign, working time and schedules, management training, example, monitoring. Next is secondary, mindfulness training. So mindfulness training is an increasingly popular that aims to promote states of mindfulness, paying attention to the experiences, thoughts, and emotions occurring to the present moment in a non-judgmental, compassionate, accepting, and non-reactive way, a new adaptive response to negative thoughts and emotions. Promotions, example, exercises, Cognitive behavioral therapies assume that maladaptive cognitions contribute to the maintenance of psychological distress and problematic behavioral responses to stress. Relaxation. So, relaxation is the techniques are based on the assumption that states of relaxation and stress assured negative states of well-being such as anxiety, tensions, and anger. Meditation, personal and interpersonal skill training, acceptance and commitment therapy, social intervention training, coping skills training, resilience training. In organizational column is improving communication and decision making, conflict management, peer support groups, coaching and career planning. Lastly is tertiary. Under individual column is employee assistance programs, counseling, post-traumatic stress assistance, disability management. In organizational column is vocational rehabilitation and outplacement. Stress in the workplace may not be avoidable, but if excellent management is being practiced, impact of stress will be minimized and lessened. Healthy environment must be attained. Workplace wherein good relationship, personal growth, and development foster. Safety and health promoting must be observed. A saying that good management is stress management. Successful employers and managers provide leadership in dealing with the challenge of work stress. So that's all about our report. Thank you.